Support WrestleTalk!
We are going to discuss William Regal leaving AEW. This is breaking news. We were going to talk about the MJF segment from last night's episode of Dynamite, where MJF turned on William Regal. Just 10, 11 days after Regal sided with him at Full Gear, turned on Jon Moxley. Just 5 days, or not even that, 4 days after Triple H put a little tweet out being, "Oh, I miss you, William Regal, you're my bestest friend."
Yeah, and then Dave Meltzer had reported that his contract was only a year long, so it would end in February of next year, then corrected himself to be, it's actually 3 years. So we thought, okay, turns out he won't be going anywhere there because he's under contract for 3 years.
And now we have the latest from PW Insider.
Yeah, so here is what PW Insider had to say. All signs are that William Regal, 54, will be World Wrestling Entertainment bound shortly.
Shortly? That's not 3 years away, Luke.
Although we have heard nothing official from the company, there have been rumblings within WWE of late about Regal returning in a backstage role. That would mean Regal would be exiting AEW, where it certainly appeared that he was written out of storylines last night on Dynamite, having been attacked by AEW champ MJF. Now, there's an interesting side note to this, is that Dave Meltzer was talking about this angle on Wrestling Observer Radio last night. And he did, his usual Dave thing. I'm going to read you verbatim what Dave said, because I think...
With the ears?
All of what Dave said.
Ums.
Because in isolation, not all that interesting, but coupled with what Mike Johnson has just said, here's what Dave said. There's stuff that I can't say, but, it's like, whatever the 3-year contract is, there's something up here, okay? And it is certainly a possibility that he's going back. I'm not making that up. That is what he said.
This is what Dave Meltzer has been saying since Sunday, because Saturday Triple H put out the tweet, "Oh, it isn't the same without someone going," and it was a montage of William Regal saying "War Games" on Twitter, and just an innocent post. But then on Sunday, that's when Meltzer started to say, "Oh yeah, I can't say anything, but there is a story here." We're like,
it's not a non-story, is the way that Meltzer put it.
And it's very much become not a non-story, but a full-on story now. This is baffling. Yesterday, me and Tempest uploaded a video where we are talking about, do you think William Regal will go to WWE? Because the story somewhat changed from William Regal has an out in his contract in February, April time, because it's a 1-year contract, but then Meltzer added, actually it's 3 years. So that changed the story from, well, Regal could just leave, to Regal has to actively ask for his release.
Or is it that Meltzer was actually right in the first instance, and it was just a misunderstanding? He has a 3-year deal with a 1-year opt-out.
But that's still February, April. Now's November. December.
Shortly. That's only 2 months away, or 3 months. Right, as it started February, 2 months away. That is shortly.
Well, if it's shortly, so that's just
It's your birthday, shortly.
Hey, let's talk about what happened on last night's episode of Dynamite, because that plays into this, and this whole MJF heel turn following Full Gear.
I like that we're talking about, MJF turned heel, the bastard.
And he turned heel again last night. But some more this
more
time.
heel.
MJF did his big 17-minute long, arguably too long, explanation promo of what he is doing as AEW World Champion. He sided with William Regal. William Regal took him under his wing to become the ultimate villain. That's why Regal turned on the Blackpool Combat Club. MJF then walks around the back of Regal and he's saying, "Hey, crowd, let's give it up for Regal. Show this man some respect." And it totally worked me, because I was like, he should get cheered. And then out of nowhere, it was all a misdirect, because MJF used the brass knucks of all things, the very weapon Regal gave him, to deck him in the back of the head. And Regal just sells it like death.
And the commentators played this up so seriously. They went quiet. They were talking about Regal's history with concussions, his history with neck problems, his history with brain bleeds. And they were like, this is serious now. Even Taz, who at the start of this segment was like, hey, you know it's MJF. Like, you know, he does the things, but actually he's all great. And even Taz was like, he's gone too far. Like, he's taken this too far. Tony Schiavone said the S word.
Yeah. With AEW, I often feel like they don't give things like this enough time. This was perfectly measured. They even went to ad break, came back, it was still going on because Bryan Danielson, who he sees Regal as a father figure, was distraught. And that's going to build what will likely be a Max versus Bryan feud
For Revolution.
For Revolution next year. It adds a real personal blood feud element to that. But then, yeah, Danielson goes off in the moving medical facility to the local medical facility with Regal. So I did not see this coming.
Me
because but me and Tempest, you can go back and watch the video from Wednesday. We were like, well, yeah, but what will happen? But there is so much mileage left in Regal and MJF that surely that's going to go on for at least a couple of months. We keep comparing it to CM Punk and Paul Heyman in terms of like two excellent promo people being put together actually makes an even better act. You get to Full Gear, Regal makes the turn. The explanation for why Regal betrayed Moxley was, well, I wanted to create the biggest villain. And in a way, he succeeded because then his creation then turned on him immediately, thus being a bigger villain.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good motivation either. I like the twists and the turns and the superficial high spots, but ultimately I think the motivation behind, the master plan behind Regal turning on Mox and then MJF turning on Regal, I actually find quite unfulfilling. And AEW and definitely Max are usually a lot better than that. So this is why I'm looking at all this other stuff that's happening and thinking, well, is this because the hand has been forced? Really, did AEW see 3 months minimum in this act, but then they had to rush it because Regal respectfully asked for his release to go back to WWE, and because it's Regal and he's a mensch, Tony Khan said, yes, you can do that.
Or is Regal just going to be off TV for a while and then make his return at Revolution? The pay-per-view that he made his debut, because it's going to be MJF Danielson, the main event of Revolution.
Not going by the PW Insider report.
Well, yeah, shortly.
Shortly. You already wrote Regal off TV last week when Mox said to him, run. And I thought, okay, Regal's going to come back at least a few weeks down the line to sell that and then come and turn on Mox, and that is then what finally writes off Mox from TV. Mox can finally have a vacation. But I feel like this turn was rushed. I did like the turn, but I feel like it was rushed.
Do you know what? It's because I'm quite easily pleased at times. Just ask my wife. And it was Max's final lines when he read back the email, but from him to Regal. I was like, oh, actually, this has been a really good story. And I've really enjoyed it. But I do think that's also me. I'm just sometimes quite easily pleased. I noticed a detail, and they did the detail, and I noticed that. And it made me feel like a smart fan.
I think it's a nice bow at like holding together what is quite a clumsy story. There's that final moment.
But I don't think you're wrong in that. The other benefit of this promo I could see is that he did set up his next 3 challenges for the title, because he said Ricky Starks. Ricky is going to be facing him at Winter is Coming. Eddie Kingston will probably be one of the January shows. And then you do Danielson at Revolution. So at least Max was smart enough here to be like, here are my next 3 challenges, by the way. One of which you already know. Here's the next 2 after that.
The more I look at this promo, this segment, the last few months, I always saw Full Gear as the bit where AEW like, okay, now we've tied up all the loose ends and now we can move forward. And I think they've been doing a great job with that on last week's Dynamite and here. Well, I wasn't expecting that they still had a bunch of loose ends to tie up and write Regal out as an on-screen character.
We think. Bearing in mind as well, this is just a report from PW Insider. We don't know how much Regal is actually just going back to WWE, although according to them, WWE expects him back very, very soon.
And like Meltzer's been talking about it as well, when you get
2 people,
Wrestling Observer and PW Insider saying,
I don't think you're wrong.
And Triple H is tweeting about it, and Regal's just been obviously written off forever.
Yeah.
You can kind of...
I
don't think it's out of the...
It feels like we've got all the puzzle pieces here. It's just up to us to put them in the right places.
Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Leave us some comments down below. Are you unhappy that Regal has gone? Do you think there was more mileage in the MJF AEW stuff. Me and Tempest kept on saying, if Regal left after 3 months for WWE, work that into the story. Have MJF keep saying, well, I'm going to go over to WWE, join my man Regal. I thought that was perfect.
He would probably still do that
Yeah.
now at this point.
Even though he just decked him in the back of the head.
Yeah, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to deck him again.
And subscribe because there'll be plenty more stuff coming on, I imagine.